in the college football playoff.
Can I just say, I'm ready to suit up after watching. Let me go find some shoulder pads in the helmet real quick.
In the meantime, you're in a suit, so we're going to stay here. We're going to talk a little NFL now because we had a double dose of NFL today, Yves.
Yeah, we go to the AFC North. The Steelers with a chance to win the division for the first time in 4 years. All they had to do was beat the team that won it last year, the Ravens. There you see Harbaugh. There you see Tomlin. Early in the second quarter, we're tied at 7. Russ scrambling towards the end zone, tries to avoid the tackle, can't do it, and then the ball comes out. It's recovered by Baltimore. Huge play there by that Ravens defense, because on the ensuing drive, Lamar Jackson, he's at her dropping dimes like DiCaprio. Look at that throw, back corner end zone to Rashad Bateman, and the Ravens now lead it 17-10 at the break. Third quarter, Wilson again drops back, looking for Cordarrelle Patterson in the end zone. And Woody, that's a pretty good throw too.
Oh, absolutely. That's what you call a touch pass right there.
Show you a replay there. Look at Patterson hang on to the ball with an arm in between, even using some thighs, whatever it takes. Steelers tie the game at 17. Less than 2 to go. It's Lamar, his favorite target ever, Mark Andrews, back in the end zone. They regain the lead. We go to the fourth quarter. And Lamar, he's looking for Bateman, but what happens here, Woody?
He stops. You know, there was a different read there. Usually, receiver thinking, okay, it's zone. If it's not zone, if it's man, you keep running. Both of the guys got confused. That's where you get the interception at.
So that gave Pittsburgh a huge opportunity because they're down just a touchdown, and then Russ does that. Another turnover. Marlon Humphrey with the pick six, 37 yards on the interception return, and the Ravens win it 34-17. They officially clinch a playoff spot here in 24.
So it seems like, Woody, this time around between these two AFC North rivals, it was a higher scoring affair, and it feels like that's because the ground game really got going.
Yeah, listen, that's the reason why you brought Derrick Henry in here, right? You saw the first matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They held him in check, second lowest output of the season. This go around, 162 yards by Derrick Henry. And when you get Derrick Henry going, then everything else feeds off of that. And you can see Lamar Jackson playing freer. Things open up in the passing game. You know, they ran for over 200 yards in this game. So this is when the Baltimore Ravens are at their best. Running the football, pounding it with Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson doing his thing, whether inside or outside the pocket.
Yeah, when you're turning the ball over and then you got Henry going for 162 yards, it's hard to stop the Baltimore Ravens.
Woody, appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, huge football Saturday.
NFL Saturdays are here, so you know it means more. 17-10 as the AFC North hangs in the balance. Pittsburgh can clinch with a win here over Baltimore, but through 30, chasing 7. Thanks to a Russell Wilson fumble around the 11-minute mark that turned into a touchdown off the hand of Lamar Jackson, his second of the day, but a 14-point swing right there, the difference in this ballgame. Joe Musso pleased to be in studio with the guys to assess what we've seen through those first 30 minutes. Bryant McFadden, Emery Hunt. Gentlemen, this is a rivalry that you know well, obviously intimately, but one that we've grown to know in this Lamar Jackson era as one that Pittsburgh dictates the terms of. Did you feel like it was a little different in the first half of this one?
No question. It felt like Lamar Jackson was more comfortable than what we've seen in years past against the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially the first meeting against Pittsburgh in Acrisure Stadium. He was able to distribute the football, very, very efficient, 8 of 15, 89 yards, but 2 big-time touchdowns. But outside of that, guys, the thing that has really helped Lamar Jackson is getting King Henry going. In a half of play, 13 carries for 75 yards. He's been outstanding, almost 6 yards per carry. But think about this in the first meeting, Emery. Derrick Henry had 13 carries for the entire ball game. 65 yards. So
Point
you
of
look
emphasis.
at what he did in four quarters in the first meeting. They've been able to match that volume in a half of play, and he's been successful. So when he is doing what he has been able to do, no question, it makes things a little easier for Lamar Jackson.
It's the double-edged sword of teams coming in, or Lamar and the Ravens coming in, because they had to get over this hump for Pittsburgh. So Lamar's going to be locked in. And remember, Henry fumbled for the first time in like a decade in that game against Pittsburgh as well. So him not wanting to fumble again, wanting to show that, hey, this team doesn't, fear. I don't fear this team. They don't scare me. And you're getting both guys locked in. And I like how the receivers are also stepping up and making plays, not only with the football, but after the catch as well.
We remember in that first meeting, Justin Tucker left a handful of points out there on the field as well. Bangs one through from 50+ here in the first half. The difference is 7 points between these two teams. Emery, when you look at what Pittsburgh is doing right now in the absence of some of their biggest names, still no George Pickens. TJ Watt is out there, but obviously not at 100%. Is the game plan where it needs to be, or what is the adjustment you want to see from Pittsburgh in the second?
I like what I'm seeing from Pittsburgh offensively because I feel like they're attacking Baltimore where they are weakest, and I think that's linebacker. They're running right downhill. They're gashing these guys on the edge in the run game, off tackle, and they're putting those linebackers in conflict in the passing game because outside of, what you're seeing from guys in the middle, Roquan Smith, they're taking advantage of everyone else. So they're putting those linebackers in the blender, and I think that's where they're going to have to focus and try to match that again in the second half.
And this matchup for Pittsburgh offensively, this should be a Jaylen Warren type of game. I understand Najee is your RB1, but it seems like Jaylen Warren can give more of a spark for the offense, not just running the football, but he's also their leading receiver in a half of play with 3 receptions. So he's been able to showcase his big playmaking ability, and I think they need to lean on Jaylen Warren in the second half. But for the defense, it starts about stopping the running game. When you play defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the first thing we hear when we walk into those defensive meeting rooms, stop the run. That's the first priority. In a half a play, they haven't been successful in doing so, and that's why we're seeing the passing game become very, very efficient for the Baltimore Ravens. So being able to clamp down on the ground and pound attack will be huge for the defense in the second half.
At the heart of it, you're 30 minutes and 7 points away from the hats and the T-shirts if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. First time and sometimes that they would be division champions. You've been in that room in this very scenario. Coach T's got to have something for them. What do you think that's like right now for those guys listening to their head man?
It's 0-0 right now. The first half doesn't mean anything. And defense do what they're supposed to do, guys. Don't let them score. We go out and we win the ball game. That's what's being emphasized right now. And outside of that, yes, we can applaud the offense, Russell Wilson, but you cannot turn the football over. If you look at the storyline in the first meeting, it was because of penalties and turnovers that led to Pittsburgh being able to win that ball game. You don't want to flip-flop this thing the opposite direction and give the same opportunities that the Baltimore Ravens gave you in the first meeting, because that will put you in a position to lose. So for Mike Tomlin, clean, smart football, make the routine plays happen routinely, and be the tougher team for longer in the second half.
B-Mac says it's got to be 0-0. Vegas saying some of the same, a 7.5-point favorite in the Baltimore Ravens. Emery, that's a pensive you give me there. 7.5 is the number, 49.5 the total. Anything there for you?
You know how Baltimore gets when they have to play a team that, hey, we've been getting overlooked for this. This is like the Kansas City Chiefs game. So I think this is going to be a little bit tighter in the second half. I will take the Steelers plus the points here. I also like the under as well.
I'm more leaning to the under in terms of understanding the history of this rivalry. You don't really see a lot of points. I'm surprised to see what 27 points in a half of play. I think both defenses clamped down, and this potentially could be a field goal-like affair in the second half, so I love the under.
We'll see how it all plays out. We'll have full highlights when it goes to zeros right here on CBS Sports HQ. But for now, say thank you for joining us here at halftime, where it's a 7-point game between the Ravens and the Steelers. A win here again would mean AFC North title. We're going to set the stage here in Week 16. Bryant McFadden, Emery Hunt, Joe Musso, your host, fellas. Let's start with Penix, because this is not your cut it loose kid, welcome to the league moment. This is a please save us kid. What do you think that all of the pressure produces out of Penix on Sunday?
I think he's going to be very, very efficient. This is a very mature kid in terms of football life. He's played a lot of ball when you look at what he did at Indiana and then transferring to Washington. Unfortunately for Michael Penix, he does not have the luxury to go through rookie growing pains. To your point, Joe, they need his best right now. No room for error. But I think he's up to the test, because he's shown the ability to be a natural thrower of the football. And most importantly, too, he provides something for their offense that Kirk Cousins did not provide, which is a sense of mobility. Remember, even though he doesn't look like it, Emery, he ran 4.58 at his pro day. He can move, he can run, and he's not afraid to attack the football down the football field. And oh, by the way, if you look at the Atlanta Falcons over the last few weeks, they've done a really, really good job in running the football. So he has a running game to rely on, so they won't be one-dimensional on the offensive side.
most importantly for me, he has healthy ankles, which means he could drive the football. That's what was lacking from Kirk Cousins. We saw a lot of those balls late going outside, going back the other way. That won't happen for Michael Penix, so he can drive the football in those deep out routes, those bench routes, or we know he has great touch timing and anticipation on a deep ball going outside the numbers. That's another area where Kirk Cousins didn't have the success. I feel like that's where we'll see the benefit of Michael Penix. Now, he's still a rookie, so he'll get, different looks post-snap. He'll get all kind of things thrown at him from a blitz perspective, but in terms of pure passing, they benefit from him out there starting.
No longer in the driver's seat in the South. And how about this? First time since 2012, two left-handed quarterbacks starting the same week in the NFL. The more you know. Our people upstairs, they miss nothing. Here's a look at that NFC playoff picture as we are focused there on Atlanta, who now finds themselves in the hunt as they have given way to the Buccaneers at 8-6. The Bucs with some high-level football to come as well. But take your eyes to the top. The Lions, 12-2, as are the Eagles, but coming off a loss. Dan Campbell sounding off on what he thinks this will bring for his team.